Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another match here in Pod D. We are here with the Premodern Super League. My name is William Hurst, and we are joined today by none other than McLean Denny. Sir, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Now, you've had some action in our other pods, but this is a different pod to you. So we have a really cool matchup today. We're seeing Michael Hoyp, otherwise known as the Cloudgoat Ranger, versus TvTyrant, Corey Harris, a mainstay on the MOS. I'm assuming you're familiar with both of these players. You've heard the names.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know the reps on them.
Great players.
Absolutely. So we're going to get to deck lists here in a second. As always, these are not open deck lists to our players. They did not know what they were facing going into this. This one is going to be a little unique. Unfortunately, Corey's setup when recording, technical difficulties in life. We will not have Corey's hand throughout this matchup. That is okay. We're still going to have a great time anyway. So up here, we got Michael Hoyt, the Cloudgoat Ranger himself, with what is called probably the best picture of this whole event. I can't beat it. He is on Red Green Goblins. Very classic take on it with a little spin. Mike, a huge fan of the Ancient Tomb plan. McLean, how do you look at this deck? What are you kind of seeing that stands out to you? Thoughts on Goblins in general?
Yeah, I mean, Goblins is pretty great. I think it feels like it's going to be a race to go wide around Oath, or, have those two main deck naturalizes are pretty key. And I mean, the Ancient Tomb is probably going to be good to go wide, I'd imagine, because you could have a little more explosive turn 2/3s.
I would agree, and we'll see here in a second Corey on his traditional innovative deck that he's put together, Tyrant Oath, the Monogreen kind of Ponza-ish Oath deck. Goblins having those naturalizes, having domain, the ability to go wide. Goblins probably a deck in this format, almost even more so than Elves. Goblins can do everything. They're well situated in colors to take advantage of the weak spots of almost any deck. I just played Goblins today myself on Stasis, and it doesn't seem to matter what answers you have. They just have something going. So Goblins, one of the strongest contenders you can have going forward. Up next, though, we're going to have a look at Tyrant Oath. The deck list will switch here in a second. But what have been your experiences playing against Tyrant Oath, kind of those Oath decks the Monogreen Oath deck that Tyrant has really put together and put a lot of time into?
Yeah, it's a really scary deck. I feel like I've played against it most on MTGO. And with zombies, it does feel like a race there. You're just hoping to get an early discard of the Oath, and then try to win before they can land another one or land a big enough Terravor. So yeah, it's a really cool deck, really fun to play against.
And looking a little bit more on the Goblins list here, Skirk Prospector, also another key card here in, I think, Mike's list. The ability to use your Goblins as mana, especially, and a sack outlet in case you got stuck under an Oath. More and more as this format develops and things get refined, Skirk Prospector, I can't imagine seeing lists with less than 3, if I'm honest. I think that card is amazing.
Yeah, really versatile, and it can use your matrons, for double duty, things like that. So especially with a sharpshooter active too, it can get really wild.
I would agree. It has the typical Rashad imports here for more mana denial on those key turns. Some lists that we've seen of Goblins here in the sideboard have been shying away a lot from kind of graveyard removal. two Tormod scripts here, which could be pretty interesting in this matchup.
Yeah. Tormod's Crypt, it always feels good, but maybe, you have so many lands on your side too that are going in the graveyard, but it can definitely slow them down, cut the Terravor in half or more.
Exactly.
And then no wastelands, in the Goblins. I guess that's one of the big differences. But
yeah, that is certainly a difference that we see here. Kind of trying to find that balance of wastelands and ports, or one or the other. But here we have Corey Harris's list, TvTyrant, and his Tyrant Oath list. Ponza with Oath of Druids, Wastelands, Spheres of Resistance, Smokestacks. I mean, this thing is making sure you're not having fun, you're not playing a bunch. Obviously, if we're looking at sideboard, there is no divert in his sideboard. That's an error on my part. It's just too much going on. I can't change it. What do you think about this list up against Goblins? I think pre-board Goblins, I feel like, would be the favorite, but there's a lot of weapons post-board that Corey can bring in.
Yeah, the lack of turn one answers to Lackey is probably, could be troublesome, because I mean, I guess you could I don't know who's on the play, but I mean, you could turn one Oath. That's probably the strongest play. And then having a Mishra, you could turn one Mishra with a Mox Diamond, have that active. So I feel like the early game, if Corey can kind of survive the early game, then land some spheres and a big Terravor, I think that's probably his best strategy.
I would assume so as well. This deck, very powerful, obviously, if Oath stays around. But if Oath goes away, what is Corey doing against a go wide strategy? Is he just trying to control that mana, slow it down to the point where a factory gets there or a treetop gets there? What happens if that Oath goes away, do you think?
Yeah, if Oath goes away, you really need, like, being able to drop an early sphere can definitely slow down Goblins. I think going after their lands is going to be tough, just because they have so many ways to get around that, with either Lackey or Skirk or Ancient Tomb being able to ramp. And Smokestacks too. I mean, I don't know if that's great in this matchup either.
Yeah, but something interesting, if he can get going quickly, slow it down, those Winter Grasps, the Thermokarsts, even the Wastelands and the ports, Goblins doesn't run that many green sources. And if you can control the green sources, that means your library, your Oath is typically much more safe. So there is something going there. But where I think it gets really interesting is in the sideboard. Corey has a couple Elephant Grass, which is an interesting thing to bring in. But Call of the Herd, as of late, has really starting to get a push as a kind of an anti-goblinish card coming in, something that blocks. You can do it a couple times. What do you think of that being brought into the sideboard as far as this matchup goes?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it blocks a lot of the Goblins really well. It's a two for one, where you're going to be able to keep up with the card advantage from Goblins. Yeah, I like Call of the Herd. Elephant Grass, I mean, that. Yeah, I mean, it stops the Lackey potentially. I guess they could still make a land drop and then a swing in. So.
All right, so we are into the match here. As I said, we do not have Corey's hand. Mike is on the play, looking like he took a mulligan. No, he did not take a mulligan. Yeah, he did take a mulligan. Sorry. Took a mulligan on 6. Plays a Lackey. Can't think of a stronger start for a Goblin player. Into a Hickory Woodlot, which is unfortunate.
At least there's no Siege Gang, but You can matron, I guess, or yeah, probably.
Yeah. Tyrant not getting off to the strongest start yet. Hickory Woodlot, unfortunately, not providing anything but a tapped land. And that port really probably going to be able to go to work on that because there's not much
Mm-hmm.
Tyrant can do on his upkeep with that Woodlot. I feel like this Lackey into Matron into Siege Gang might just do it here. We'll have
Mm-hmm.
to see.
Yeah, what could he draw? I mean, a
I don't know.
wasteland maybe kill the port, but then you're still getting hit with Lackey twice. Oh,
Slightly surprised at not putting out the port yet. Um, but Goblins. Mike is a great Goblins player.
ringleader.
No pile driver. Okay,
Oh, okay.
all right. So we're gonna go the pile driver route. Really trying to get in there. There's the Oath of Druids.
Mm,
As we said, though, this is not open deck list, so these players do not know what they're playing against. So you can't have that in mind when we're doing this. But hindsight 2020, the port prevents that. But
hmm
we move on. Still, this pile driver, a amazing hit. He slaps in. He's gonna get a trigger. Now, an interesting note is Mike, I'm sure, is vaguely familiar with this deck list and can probably put it together. He knows that most likely it's going to just be a Terravore. He might be
hmm
able to get wide enough to race it, and depending on the size of the Terravore, that Incinerator could kill an undersized Terravore as well.
Yeah, it's gonna do five, right? So,
At least 5. Yep. Yep.
and then you can also sack Fanatic, so you could kill a 6/6 potentially.
Yep. So that looks exactly what is going on here. Mike going to go wide with the Goblin plan. Going to tap down the
hmm
Woodlot.
He's also I mean, he's gonna be forced to chump with, well, maybe not chump, but block the pile driver.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a second
Ooh.
oath. That is a very large Terravore.
Yeah.
however, however, though, that pile driver is going to get big enough where he has to probably block this pile driver. I would assume. Well,
hmm
maybe not. He's not dead. So pile driver gets what? 1, 2. So 2, 4,
9.
6, 8. He's a 9,
I think
10,
he does
11.
have to, yeah.
Which leads to being able to then incinerate the Terravore. He gets in, but then you're still left with even bigger Terravores coming with these Oath of Druids. That's 2 more that are going to be at least 12/12s, if not like whatever's.
Yeah.
um,
I kind of like, oh, yeah.
well, here comes the big old goblins. He's gonna block the pile
Yep.
driver. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna
This.
be come down pretty close to see if he can get through the last few points of damage.
Mm-hmm. And goblins, while it's so very effective in many ways, its lack of reach sometimes can be an issue. You see that against a deck
Mm-hmm.
like this. You see that against a deck like Dreadnought sometimes, where that is
Ooh.
that's a spicy ringleader. Okay, and he also got another incinerator off that incinerator too. I don't know. This is
Yeah,
a
this is
tight
looking
race.
good.
This is tight. All
Yeah,
right.
he's gonna have two Terravores, potentially a treetop, but that could get ported.
Yeah. So
Trying to think what else Tyrant could have.
though there is no, he's got this in the bag because, well, depending on how he blocks, I suppose he needs to block that lackey to make sure a siege gang doesn't come in. But if the siege gang comes in, he wins because he'll be able to siege gang prospector and do enough shenanigans, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Seems so.
Um, man, this is I wish. I know this is not Corey's fault. I wish we could see his hand. It's just like
Yeah.
but okay. So what do
I
you
wonder
think
if
you do?
Michael's. Yeah, I wonder if he's thinking of like sacking something to play the matron or sacking something to port an upkeep.
So what are you?
Um,
I mean, I can see porting an upkeep, maybe sacking your like matron to port or something
mhm.
to tap probably the treetop. But that I don't know. This is tough. I
Because,
definitely
yeah.
unless you go no. All right, well, let's see what happens. We're going to let the experts play this out. So here comes some two chunky Terravores. That is a
Yeah, it's gonna be
13-13.
huge.
That is a those are
So,
17-17s.
mhm.
So Mike, you
Yeah, so
better
he really
win.
needs to kill. Yeah, he needs to win here.
Okay. All right.
If he
What
leaves
else?
treetop up,
And that's another
oh, he's
Terravore.
ooh,
He's so
hmm,
dead. And that's a port too?
hmm. Oh, and a port.
Okay.
Interesting.
All
He
right.
ports his mountain.
Yeah, port the mountain. Ugh. So
He could.
many
Hmm.
uh, if only you had the what's the one goblin
Cycling
where if
doesn't
you
do anything here.
naturalize a
Oh, too
little
late.
late. Um,
Hmm.
I I cannot see a path forward in this. I'm Mike may surprise me, but I can't see it. Does he maybe swing and hope that Corey just doesn't block the lackey? Like, what does he have to lose, right? Because if he doesn't block the lackey, he'll win. Like you can leave play
Hmm.
room for a player's error. I can't imagine that happens, but still,
Yeah. Yeah, there's
man.
no, I don't think there's any other outs. He really, if he had a war chief, maybe he could do a little more creative things, but no war chief means you can't really sneak anything in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is not looking good for the little gobos at the moment in here in game number one. Um, Mike, just a very smart player going through all of his options, figuring it out. Corey, can't be mad when you have 3 18-18s on the board.
Yeah.
That'll block a dreadnought. So I don't know who's the big boy now is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think
Uh,
even I'm thinking even with the two Terravors, it's probably hard for Michael to win. Um,
okay,
okay, so he's
matron. Okay,
mhm.
go get. Without haste, there's no like
Yeah.
sharpshooter shenanigans. Okay,
Oh,
so Mog Fanatic. Nope, that's it. All right,
yeah,
Corey,
he's
go
probably just
ahead.
checking his outs.
Yup.
Yeah.
Corey picking up the win here, moving into sideboarding, looking at Mike first. Tranquil Domain naturalizes. Yes, please.
Hmm.
Sharpshooter.
I mean, their crypts would have been amazing too. So,
Yes. Crypts are good.
hmm,
Sharpshooter coming in. I mean, he can. That is a way to get out from under that situation if he can get it going. Just repeating sharpshooter to the face. Um,
yep. I wonder if
Tinker.
you even want the incinerators. I guess they're good against manlands too, though.
They are definitely good against the man.
Um,
Tinkerer. Okay. So I think then he is probably familiar with this archetype if he's going to bring in Tinker, because he's
Mm-hmm.
assuming Sphere of Resistance at the very least. Um,
Yeah. Does
so
Fanatic go? And what do you
uh,
cut here?
you probably cut. Let's see, he's going to cut an Incinerator, a Ringleader, more Ringleaders. So 2 Ringleaders out plus an Incinerator for 2 more Naturalizes and a Tranquil Domain.
Okay.
So Sharpshooter coming in. Maybe. I don't think you can cut a Siege Gang. Just because of how
I guess
good it
the
is.
ringleader he's thinking's too slow, or just not enough
Uh,
damage output.
yeah, no, it does. I would assume that's probably correct. Obviously, we did not get to see Tyrant's sideboarding. One would assume the
Mm,
Elephant Grass and the Call of the Herds come in, probably taking things out like Smokestack is probably too slow. Things like
hmm.
that. Um, all right,
And no, I don't
Mike.
think he brought Crips in. I don't think
He
Michael
did
brought Mike. Yeah.
no, he did not. It's an interesting thought because Mike doesn't have much that goes to the graveyard, so as you were saying, he can kind of control what's in the graveyard as far as lands. Mike went ahead and mulligan 6. He has a Fanatic on the play. Here comes a Diamond, and that is a turn 1
Oh
Oath of Druids.
no.
That Fanatic is going to be the best Jackal Pup
Yeah.
you have ever seen. Um, Swing, hit you, shoot you, and now we wait for a Tranquil Domain or something.
Yep.
Oath of Druid, such a card you can deal with, but such a powerful card, especially coming in that
Yep.
way. There's a Call of the Herd. I mean,
Mm.
Corey getting off to an amazing start here. Like
So he's giving him a oath trigger though.
he is. That is a downside to this. Well, that's Prospector. Um, Notably, you can sack the Prospector to get another Oath trigger if you wanted. Um, Ancient Tomb
Yeah.
doesn't line up.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient Tomb doesn't line
Yeah,
up
with the
well with the
wasteland.
Wasteland.
Yeah.
Um, well, I don't know. This is an interesting spot. I don't know about giving the Oath trigger to the Goblins player because what sometimes happens if they, I don't know, they do get a sharpshooter. They do get like there are a lot of ways I think it could probably go wrong. Like here, let me
Mm-hmm.
dump this War Chief into play and then like pile driver you 5 times. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. If he hit a siege gang, then he probably couldn't kill his own guys fast enough. But then if he had a skirk, yeah, it's a little bit of a risk, I'd say. But
Yeah.
um,
So we're gonna have to see. Corey in a great position. I mean, if you're on this plan, you have to try and go for that second Call of the Herd. Okay, so you're gonna War Chief. Okay, he's then gonna sack the pros. No, I would sack the Prospector, play your Pile Driver, maybe. Or
yeah,
does
then
that,
it's
that?
still you can't really attack though.
No, you can't. You're right. um. Hmm. Playing it like this though gives Corey a oath trigger currently,
Hmm.
unless okay, so he's realizing what's happened. That prospector is not going to live. I I don't know. I almost think that you take that 1 damage right there from Corey and hope he doesn't sacrifice it. Right?
Hmm.
I don't know about blocking right there. Well, that's a Terravor. He's a
Ooh.
small boy.
All right, so he's just embracing the reverse oath game plan.
Yeah, let's bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. I haven't watched Dodgeball in a minute. I might have to watch that tonight when I get home. That's a classic. That's a
Yeah.
lackey. All right.
Okay.
Well,
Interesting.
that's a naturalize. All right. Well,
It's
what do you
good
do
he held
here?
the forest. Yeah, what do you do? Oof. What size is the Terravor?
It's a
2/2 or a
4/4.
four
It's a
four?
four
Okay,
four currently. Can be
cool.
a 6/6 if need be.
Yep. How does he deal with that?
I mean, that's a big old boy.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. No, can you matron go get the? No, that won't kill it.
Yeah, you could
Hmm.
like matron, then double pile driver, um,
Yeah.
or matron. Let's see, he has 5 mana. Everything costs one less, so it's 2, 3. You get matron ringleader.
Hmm.
Um,
I kind of like matron. Can he do double pile driver?
I think
Because
so.
it's two without dropping that Carplucin because he wants to deal with this oath. I assume he can't let another Terravore happen. I think in this position.
Yeah, but if he waits too, he's just gonna get. I guess it's only a 6/6, so he can wait maybe another turn.
All right,
Um,
all right. We're playing out the mommy. Hi, mommy.
okay.
Welcome, mommy. Matron. All right. Do you go get? What do we get?
I mean,
What
if
do
he
we
gets
get?
something like Siege Gang, he forces the chump on Lackey instead of, and then he could also cast the pile driver,
I
and he
like
could
that.
naturalize.
That looks like what he's gonna do. He's gonna He's gonna force. You see, this is why I don't want to ever face you. You're a smart player. Like I would not have even thought. My mind would not have even done that. All right, so yeah, he is gonna take care of the oath. He's gonna force, as you said, the block on the lackey. I mean, the choice is either you block this lackey and get smashed by pile driver, or
Hmm.
you just take yep, or you have a siege
Yeah,
gang
because it would
coming in.
also trade with the Terravor. So
So he's at 7. That is a growing Terror. That's 9.
and he has enough
That's
for the Siege Gang.
why did he
Oh, is that?
not why did he not wasteland the ancient tomb? Because he doesn't have anything that a naturalize is going to affect. And he knows he has the
Hmm.
siege gang, right? Because if he wastes the ancient tomb, he's on 4 mana. He can well, I suppose he can still cast the siege gang. Never mind. I forgot about War Chief. That's my bad.
Yeah, he would have needed a land drop though,
No, you're
because he
right.
would have been
Okay.
on 3 mana.
All right.
So the ancient tomb does, hurt him, but
It
let's see
does.
if does he have enough? He has enough to play the siege gang and with one activation up.
So
Um,
he'll go to 10. He'll have to go to 10 to do it.
hmm Yeah, going for it.
Okay. Pile driver gets blocked, I assume, by the
Or no, no
elephant.
activations. Um,
Does it?
can he afford to attack here though? Because if he attacks all, he there's not lethal, so I think he can't
Mm,
can't attack all.
no, but he can't not do anything because then he just dies to the terrors. Okay, well,
Well, Yeah, because Corey can't quite attack in this state either. Oh, that just pumped him. Or no, it didn't
Okay.
pump him.
All right. So math is math. So he
The
needs to just
Terravores are now 6-6 still? 6-6.
yes.
Okay.
So he has plenty. He needs to take.
He blocks 3 damage from the Terravore.
So that's 12 left. So he needs to block at least 3 more damage. Huh?
Yeah, he has enough to swing back. Maybe it was just his only out was to have Michael mess up blocking or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because he could have blocked enough to essentially go to 1 and then swing back
Mm-hmm.
and then have an
Yeah.
activation. Okay. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to do the math in my head and it was not working. It wasn't a good day for Will.
These
So
are
listen,
really close matches.
they are, and on the face of it, like they look like that. The Green Oath deck just looks so simple. Like you look at it, and it just looks like these are like cards, I guess, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the way they interact with each other and the things that it spirals into is quite impressive.
Yeah,
Looks
a
like
lot of synergy.
yep. So now that Mike has seen um Call of the Herds, Crips are now coming in
Mm-hmm.
for it looks like
Okay.
1 ringleader, 1 more sharpshooter. All right. Game number 3, 1 apiece. Tyrant on the play. Mike will have a lackey on turn 1,
Mm-hmm.
if all things
This looks good.
considered. That looks beautiful. That's a goblin hand if I ever saw one. All your colors. That's an
Yeah.
exploration. Okay. So that's a blocker for
Mm,
lackey. Well, no,
and
it's not.
also port.
Never mind. I lied. There is a port. All right. So up onto
Um,
Tyrant again.
yeah.
Mox Diamond, discarding a treetop.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
that's a scary Terry.
Is a 1/1, right?
Yeah, I mean, chumps.
I know.
Yeah,
I wonder if he does. He probably has to trade there.
yeah, and Mike would be so happy if he did. He's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the lack of answers to Lackey is pretty tough.
It is what we wouldn't. What's the card called? It was I think it first came into like a 10th edition Hornet Sting or something. It's 1 green,
Mm,
deal 1 damage to target creature or player. I think it was in like
yeah.
10th edition. It's like, man, that card would be
Mm,
amazing.
for sure.
All right, so Matron happening. Winter's Grasp, gonna go ahead and hit that red
Mm,
source. Um, I mean, Mike just drawing the red sources, feeling pretty good about himself with it. Uh,
yeah. Do you? No, he doesn't.
no. Depending on how this next turn goes, I think you probably cash in a Matron. Well, there's a Sphere of Resistance. Never mind. Things get a little bit more expensive. So here's the thing that has been interesting when I've watched this deck. Um, is that Sphere of Resistance, a lot of times when I've played with it and against it, sometimes it's really good against your opponent, but then there's other times you just get locked behind it. And in a board
Yeah.
state like this, I think it actually hurts. Yep,
Hmm.
there it is. Like it just hurts Corey. There's no way he can get out of this.
Yeah, Goblins is so good at playing under it, and then also War Chief. Yeah,
mm-hmm, exactly. So
for sure.
that was the match right there. Um, Mike taking it down with
Yeah,
Goblins. Pretty interactive games outside of game 3. Game 3 was kind of sometimes Goblins do what Goblins do. Um,
yep.
any final thoughts on that match that we saw?
Yeah, it seemed pretty cool matchup. A lot about I think the first few turns, whether an oath can resolve or not. But yeah, pretty sweet. Goblins is just they just can handle almost anything. It seems it's a great deck.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go and head out. We'll catch you in the next match. Take care, everybody.